as a game master, I usually have no problem staying focused. Usually. Because there's tons of things happening on my screen. Notes, music, virtual tabletops, rule books. And if I do end up missing things, it's usually because I am fully doing something else, like looking up stats for a monster or doing math instead of listening to the players. But the better I am prepped for a game, the easier it is to stay focused because I know what is going on next. And by the way, if you want some tips on how to simplify your prep, please check out this video over here. But when I'm a player, it's a very different story. Having to focus on one thing, one character at a time is so much more difficult for me. Listening to the GM and also the other players is so much harder because I'm not the one driving the whole machine.
Matt, hey, Matt.
Yes.
Sorry,
Okay.
I just was listening to all that. It sounded real cool. Can I jump in here with you? I think I could learn a thing or two.
Jeez, yeah, of course. Please. Hey, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Allison.
Yeah, I'm Matt. And this is Table Topsy-Turvy's 5 player tips and 1 GM trick to stay focused at the gaming table.
Let me get a notebook. I'm ready to learn.
Okay, yeah, get that notebook.
I'm going to take some notes. This is going to be great. Okay.
Yes. It's going to be so great. Okay, number 1, make a 1-card character sheet before your game. I do this all the time. This is what I do. I take a single index card, and here's what I write on it. 3 core moves, like the most used actions and spells for your character. A go-to roleplay hook. So really like, good. I'm suspicious of authority, or hates kids, or...
Or smells bad.
You're very nice and a little stinky.
Right. Yes. Smells bad. Yes. So I add those 2 things, and then I also add combat default actions, right?
Oh. Okay, so like Ranger's Focus if you're playing D&D, or Ranger's Hope if you're playing Daggerheart?
That's right.
Okay,
right.
Cool.
So that's an action and the bonus action, right? Basically, weapon damage, an action, cast spell, and then dodge defend. You know, you might remember these things, but it really helps. It's right there. You don't have to kind of dig through your character sheet, which can be very problematic, as we will discuss a little bit later.
Okay. I see where you're going with this. All right.
You got any tips yourself?
I would say mine would be know thy brain, know thyself.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot of different flavors of neurospice, right? One of them is like, are you easily distractible? What should I do in that case?
That's me. I am very distractible, so this is what helps me personally. I put everything on one screen, preferably a smaller one, right? Okay. And on that smaller screen, I keep it to as few windows as possible. I've got the VTT. I've got a character sheet if I don't have my index card. I really try to hide or destroy all the dopamine traps. Everything is put on Do Not Disturb. Notifications are off. My screen is set to grayscale. Sometimes I even put the phone in another room if I have to. Like, it depends.
I would also add to that, stand up. Have a conversation with your party first. You know, it's easier if you're playing, virtually, you can go off camera just so you can wiggle. And to the point you just made, like, put some distance between yourself and your devices. If, like me, you have no chill when it comes to these sorts of things.
Yes. That's a really good segue. Having no chill. In other ways, some might say, are you impulsive? What would you do if you're an impulsive person, AK?
What would you do if you were impulsive, AK? Sure. What I do as an impulsive person is it's really helpful to have like some spotlight triggers, because I, of course, want to jump in, investigate everything, vibe check everything, look at everything, ask questions about everything. So instead, if you just kind of have like this is what I'm listening for and when I'm allowed. Allowed is maybe too harsh of a word, but you know what I mean? That way you're making sure that you're effectively...
Depends on the game master. Yeah, right.
Sharing the space. So we call those spotlight triggers. So, if I'm a thief, I know that I'm going to want to investigate any opportunity where there might be shinies or things that I might know about. And so that's what I'm listening for. I'm okay to butt in if somebody specifically mentions my hometown, for example. But just having that list ready to go, that way you're not tempted to jump in on everything every time all at once.
I love that.
So what about if you are bad at math, which is both of us?
That's both of us. Yeah, unfortunately. I've got two big ones.
Okay.
They're both controversial, and they both need the permission of your game master. Number one, ask if they might be into your using the average damage hack.
Yeah.
GMs have that in a lot of books anyway, so you can figure out an average damage for all your weapons, which would kind of simplify things a lot. So that's one. And this one could get a little sketchy. You have to be a very honest person, but another thing that might help is to pre-roll for your own hit or damage while another player is on their turn in initiative. This way you can take more time to do the math and not be quite as distracted at the time, because less math is being more present. What if you think you're bad at improvising? Number one, you're probably not.
Probably not.
What if you really just, in your heart of heart, believe that you're bad at improvising? What do you do?
I did this a lot as a newer player, and so I want to give you all free reign and permission to do the same. Pre-write your witty comebacks. If you are going to be using a spell like Vicious Mockery, it's okay to have those jokes, those puns, whatever you're using, locked and loaded. Don't feel shy about using any kind of name generator, whether it's a book or a website. But so you don't get lost in the sauce with that, you may want to look up a few and just like jot a few down with your notes. That way you're not constantly scrolling and hitting that refresh button to get new hits, because that can become a little dopamining in and of itself.
Yes, it can. Of course, bottom line, don't let your blood sugar drop. So snack up. Drink water.
Okay.
Take
a little snack break here.
Right. Okay. Sure. Why not?
Not sponsored by Goldfish, but we wouldn't mind.
Let's go.
Well, speaking of treating oneself to delicious snacks, we think that you should also, treat yourself to some brain hacks. And if I know one thing about Matthew Bivens, he is the hackiest hacker that ever did hack. So you want to tell us about some of those?
My life is just one big ADHD hack. Let me tell you. One that works very well at the TTRPG table, however, is giving yourself a particular job.
Yes.
Here's an example. If you are okay with taking notes, don't try to take all of the notes. Kind of build yourself a subclass of note taker. The recap goblin, the NPC name keeper, the loot scribe. Track the initiative. Just be an expert on one thing, and that's your job. And you can even kind of divvy up these note-taking jobs if you want. But give yourself a job. Give yourself something that you know you can do at the table that kind of
I love this.
hones you in.
I have one that you and I both do all the time, and you shouldn't feel shy about, which is use your STEM toys. Get your fidget spinners and your little pop-em toys and your crocheting and your knitting and your... We both like to color. Basically, give your hands anything to do other than opening Instagram, speaking from experience.
I would also recommend that you use a turn anchor.
What's that?
And what I mean by that is don't get caught up in your own mini project when it isn't your turn. Do what you can to anchor yourself in the game, even when it's not your turn, right? It's okay to prepare lightly, but just really, really resist the temptation to get lost in your character sheet, which is what I do all the time. And again, try the one index card character sheet, but also note what the other players are doing. Like really watch what the other players' tactics are, and then pick your next action based on another player's tactic. Right? This is incredibly easy to do in games like Daggerheart, for example. But in some of the other games like D&D, a little crunchier, it's a little bit more difficult because there's so many more options and stuff. If you have to kind of dive into your sheet, just do the basics. Update your hit points and your resources. Just try to anchor yourself.
I think that'll actually help the analysis paralysis of it all, because if I spend too 100%. Much time in my character sheet, that I just become like obsessed with it. Whereas like if you're listening to the story, that's going to set you up for like, okay, on my next move, I do need to be buffing my party, or I do need to be attacking someone, or I do need to be talking someone into something that they don't want to do. And then that helps like narrow that scope down, so it's not so overwhelming. And I like that. Okay. All right.
Right.
Turn anchor.
Yeah.
I will have to remember that.
Improvisers call it staying in the moment. And it's an amazing thing because staying in the moment always ends up allowing you to tell a better story.
Yep.
Next tip, build a distraction emergency kit.
Ooh, what goes in that kit?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
This was kind of interesting. I don't do this too often, but this is something that a coach told me about, and it really works. It may feel a little awkward, but trust me on this one. When you catch yourself kind of dipping out, do like a 10, 15-second resync.
Okay.
Ask yourself really obvious questions like, where are we? What is our goal right now? Are we in danger? What can I do in the next 6 seconds? And it really does sound silly, but if you ask these questions about your situation, it tends to ground you and it pulls you back into the focus.
I love this. So this is the TTRPG version of the things that all of our therapists have taught us about when feeling overwhelm or anxiety. What are 5 things I can see, 4 things I can hear, 3 things. Okay. And I'll add one other one that you actually taught me, Matt, which is there are a wealth of transcription apps now available on your phone that you can put in the middle of the gaming table if you're playing in person or online. And that has really helped me because when I have those like dip out moments, a lot of them you can interact with and you can ask those same questions to your bot friend. Like, well, can you tell me what just happened? Like what the last little discussion was about, or help bring me back into this. So don't be afraid to flex technology so that way your brain can have the space to do the fun part.
I will say that if you are a person that would like to hear more tips and tricks about technology and gaming in general, we're the people to tell you about that. So let us know in the comments.
All right, what's next?
The last tip that we've got today is just to try a little bit of honesty. Don't do anything that makes yourself uncomfortable, but also don't put yourself in a position where you are doing a lot of masking at your table. This is fun. You should be among friends, right?
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I have a little secret for you. GMs know when players are distracted. They know when you are somewhere else. So don't even bother pretending, really. Just talk to them. Talk to your GM before the game, your players before the game. Just be honest with your entire table. Your brain has special needs, and you can talk to people about these needs without demanding special treatment, right?
Absolutely. Okay. I mean, I think even the 10-second reset, I think it's great if you want to try that for yourself first as like a grounding exercise. But to your point of GMs already know, the party already knows when you've drifted, it's okay. Instead of distracting everybody further from trying to make something up and now sending all of us on some kind of caper, it's okay just to ask for that 10-second reset from your GM and or the party. I'm so sorry I drifted. Can somebody give me a quick little 10-second recap of where we are? Are we in danger? What are we noticing?
Yeah, right.
It's okay.
It's absolutely okay. You know that getting up from the table and stomping around for a little bit, as Allison mentioned, actually helps you. Assure the GM and the other players that you're not doodling because you're bored.
Yep.
You're stimming.
Yeah.
This is what you need to help focus, right? As long as they know, generally, they should be pretty cool about it. If it's helping you be more engaged and therefore telling a better story, then everybody's going to be on board.
Yeah. I mean, you can even, especially if you're playing virtually, you can set statuses or put like a little emote on your screen that can become like the signal. So that way, if like everybody sees this, they know that I'm not doom scrolling right now in this minute, that I have my coloring app up, or that I'm, working, crocheting something while I'm actively listening. Communication is key.
We specifically had to go through that. We had to talk to each other about it, and we're all good now. It really does help. Don't be afraid. And don't be afraid to ask what the heck is going on. If this is deeply embarrassing for you and you find yourself starting to mask and just lose a huge chunk of the plot, maybe you could come up with a subtle gesture that you could shoot the GM that basically means the same thing. It means, sorry, what the heck is going on? Whatever it is, go away.
You're giving away our secrets, Matthew.
I know. I'm sorry. Those are all of them. Those are all of them. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And then the other one that we have actually had to deploy at our table, and we've been all the better for it, is before you get into a heated situation, at session 0 or re-0 or whenever you can, come up with a plan for taking a table timeout. Because we all do get very emotionally invested in these characters, and things happen in the heat of the moment, and we don't mean to hurt one another's feelings. But, as the GM, it is okay just to say, we're going to take 5, we're going to take 10, we're going to take whatever we need. And, much like many tables have safety tools, maybe you have a very special, I need to call for a timeout catchphrase, if you will, that when that is said, it is not questioned. Everybody knows what that means. And we just all put down what we're doing, and we take a 10. That phrase could be something like Goblin Gatorade or
Metro Chemical Sunrise
or Tactical Tentacles. It could be anything that you want that you wouldn't ordinarily utter. Your catchphrase, your safe word, whatever you want to call, that just means time out, but without the bad feelings associated.
Exactly. It really works. AK.
Yeah.
You are a fantastic game master.
Me.
We've given 5 tips for players to try to wrangle that focus at a table. Do you have one for GMs?
Yeah. One that we see a lot and is super, super helpful for me is either having a visible initiative tracker, but also verbally giving we've got Matt, you're on deck, can really, really help. And then that way, if for some reason Matt's mind has wandered, it is a nice way to pull that focus back in and give them that nice little heads up that, okay, now is a good time for you to start mining your character sheet for something to do next while you actively listen to what the current player in the spotlight is doing. Doing any kind of like tiny scene summaries, just little quick recaps as you go. If you're in combat, this most often comes down to just kind of like repeating the move of the player for the next player. So great, Matt, as you take a swing with your broadsword and miss Evan, what is it that you're doing? Just to continue to kind of ground everybody in that moment.
I've got one.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Make as many of your tracked stats visible.
Yes.
Initiative, of course, as we just said. But if you're playing Daggerheart, fear tokens. I don't know why, but it helps so much for me to know how much fear the GM has in Daggerheart. Any timers, any counters. Yeah. And probably the most controversial, but difficulties, DCs, make them known. Yeah. It is technically not a thing, but Brennan Lee Mulligan does it all the time. So
all you got to do here is beat a 15.
Our brains are often afraid of the middle and the unknown, right? So tell them that the DC's 15. I don't know. It really does work. It's strange. Yeah.
We also asked for, players to know thyself, and we also asked GMs to know thy players, right? So if you know, or even just have a hunch, without any kind of call out culture, have conversations with your players about the safety tools that either they're looking for or may have already successfully used. We already mentioned one, the emoji status that signals I'm here, I'm listening, but I need to wiggle for a bit. But make that part of an active conversation so that they feel safe, in your care, and you're all on the same team.
And finally, of course, obvious, super obvious, but take breaks. Yeah. It can even be much smaller breaks every hour instead of 15-minute. And I feel like a lot of people with neurodivergent brains really need that break, really need that time. And why not?
And it can also benefit you, because sometimes I will call for a break if I need to regroup as a GM. And so it's like, what? Oh, go get a snack, get some water, say hey to your pet.
If any of you have tips and tricks for the neurodivergent brain, or just tips and tricks, period, for players and focus, leave some in the comments. If you like these tips that we've done, we've got so many more. Let us know that you like them, and we will make more videos like this. AK, what should people do now?
They should hit the subscribe button for sure. Be part of the fam, be part of the community. Welcome to Table Topsy-Turvy. And I think the only other thing they should do is be kind to your brain.
Please do.
Yeah. We'll see you in the next video.
We'll see you in the next video.
Bye, bye. Ciao. Me, I guess so. Say you can't sleep. Maybe I know that's that me espresso. Move it up and down. Let's ride on.